Yeah, let's talk about something that seems to be coming up a lot, which is, are you AI adoption ready? Let's get a little specific. First of all of those things are absolutely true. Change management, adoption, preparation, making sure staff and everybody is in place. And there's all this underlying stuff. Yeah, again, in AI in particular, if you don't have your data ready, you don't have your knowledge management, all your tools in place, you don't have people, resources, you got to start coaching them early and asking, again, going back to that first call, asking good questions like, do you have the staff? Is this something that you're going to build? You thinking about buying? Where's your C level at? What is their mindset for this? Do they think they can just go out and buy a point solution and plug it in and away you go? Have there been proper expectations set? You set the expectations super early and you get those conversations going early. Because when you're talking to somebody, they have a day job where they're working 8, 10, 12 hours trying to keep their operations going. They haven't stopped to step back. And our job is to help them. Let's take a step back. Talk to me about your organization. Where are you at? How have you handled big changes like this? When's the last time you updated your CRM? Do you have a data lake? Have you normalized your data? Where are you at in the structure and the process? They don't know this stuff. That's why they bring experts in, right? So it's our job to ask the leading questions and start the conversation early and set the expectations early. And that's something everybody's dealing with right now is, are we there? If they're not asking that question at the top, they should be, are we AI ready? And the reality is they're not.
And I want to get really granular for anyone who's watching this. What does AI readiness look like? If you
Mm,
could put together an AI readiness checklist,
yeah.
what would that look like?
In a perfect world, which, like I said, almost no one's there, you have your knowledge management and all of your documentation processes, everything digital. You have your data normalized, meaning that all of your various platforms, CRM, ERP, CCAS, WFM, everything's been pulled out and structured in a way that the system can properly use it, right? And there's generative stuff that you can do to pull out non-structured data and create some of the data needed to train the models. But if you haven't even started to pull it all together and put it into a single lake, or you haven't even started to normalize that structure, you need to be starting now. And then
Yeah.
your people. So many people forget this. So these agents are out there, they're afraid that they're going to lose their job, or managers or IT people. So preparedness and setting expectations with projects like this with your team, talking about these things, what are our intentions with AI? Where are we going with this? Is it agent assist just to make the agent better? Is it voice analytics? What piece? And you can start prepping your team, right? I've always believed when you're doing a big technology project for contact centers, you get a person from each level of the organization involved that would touch the system or interact. So like voice analytics, if you're getting ready for that, where's all your recordings? Do we have them in a place that's easily accessible to an outside vendor? Do we have metadata tagged to it? Are the agents prepared to understand that this isn't Big Brother. We're actually trying to help you get better through artificial intelligence. And now your QA team, you may have to reskill them in supervisory leadership, but start thinking about those things and start planning ahead. So AI readiness is different depending on where you're going, what your end goal is. But I'd say number one, all your articles, management processes, everything documented well digitally, data accessible, normalized, and company prepared and understanding where that vision is taking it. And that's a good start. Let's get there. And then we can actually start to really dive into what it looks like from a change management perspective to roll out artificial intelligence. There's no easy button in this one. Yeah.
There isn't. It's so new,
Mhm.
and new can be so threatening.
Oh, yeah.
So, just simple point, garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
So, if you don't have your data, you don't have your knowledge bases, you don't have things organized, there's no way that you can train the AI. AI needs training. The
Yes.
reason why GPT-4 works is because it's pulling from all the information that's already out there. And some of that information is garbage.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to really check over and look at it. But if you're training an AI, you're training it with your stuff. So you need to make sure that your stuff is accurate and it's in a way that you, like you said, can be loaded into the AI. But then you have, yeah, you have these employees, you have these agents, you have people who have fear, you have people who are in various levels of willingness to adopt. You can look at the traditional adoption curve, right? And you can really segment your employees into those early adopters. They're on it, they're technologically savvy, they're ready to go. And
Yeah.
then you have on the other end, far other end of the adoption curve, those laggards. And they're the ones that are high fear, they're highly vocal, they're not technologically savvy, they don't want any part of this, and that can create some problems, right?
Oh, yeah.
So attacking this is a multi-angle, multi-stage thing, and you do need a communication strategy, an internal communication strategy around AI adoption. 'Cause that's also going to tell you how you're going to phase the project as well. And how, if you don't know who your early adopters are, how are you going to run a successful pilot
Yeah.
within the organization?
Yeah, it amazes me. This has been the same since I've been in this game, since premise-based green screen applications. And even back then, when you deployed a new application, you wanted to bring your team in, get them involved, make them understand the expectations properly, and roll it out in a way that the early adopters and your champions can then take it out to the rest of the floor and or people and cheer it on and make it a part of a good rollout. And people don't do that today still. It amazes me how often they miss that piece. The communication is so important. You take accent neutralization, where it actually changes the accent. Sounds like something simple. It sounds like something that most people would be, oh, that's cool, I'll adopt it. The actual, if you don't prepare the agents, though, they're like, what's wrong with my voice? Why is my voice wrong? And then if you don't prepare them for the expectations that this stuff is moving at milliseconds, so don't prepare to have a little tiny but noticeable human ear variation that you've got to be ready for. And if you don't prepare them for it, everything's broken. And I give this use case because I've actually heard it. These are things that you need to prepare the agents for. They're the people who are doing your pilot.
It's true. You have to disclose.
Oh.
I'm a really big proponent of the use of voice and disclosure in the workplace.
Yeah.
And that type of ability to drive disclosure comes from the environment you set up. And I hate to say it, but contact centers have a bad rap on psychological safety and the ability to speak up.
Yeah, and it comes back down to training and when I went from agent, so my first part of my career, I was actually on the phone as an agent. And then I grew into leadership. And one of the first roles I took out after an agent was training. And I fell in love with the idea of training. But it's something we do terribly in contact centers. We don't invest in our people, and it drives me crazy because it's one of the lower cost, best return investments a company can do. Just train, create better leaders. And what are supervisors in a contact center? They're really good agents, right? That's it. And then what do they give them for leadership skills, for training, for communication skills? Nothing. They're just like, here you go have fun. It's one of the biggest gaps. We're just not good as an industry. And I could go into all kinds of reasons why I believe that, but bottom line is training, leadership training especially, is not a focus for very many contact centers out there, unfortunately.
And that, so you're training your AI
Yeah.
because of the documentation, and the other side of it is you're training your people. And so it's time for contact centers to get good at this.
Yeah.
It's no longer something that can be avoided, and it's not something that can be addressed with, all right, supervisor A, here's your training guide. Okay, run them through these things. Here's your checklist. All right, we've got the checklist done. So there's a mastery approach, right, to both sides of this equation. Okay, let's just paint the scenario. Your CEO, the CTO, they're on board. Your center's going AI, and it's agent assist AI to start. So you've got one, you've got to train the AI, but at the same time, what are you training the AI in?
Yeah.
So let's consider that and how you can align it with how you're training. So maybe you're just starting on a specific type of support call, or you're starting with a specific type of, okay, we're only talking about, if we're talking about healthcare, we're talking about new enrollments here. So we're not gonna be doing anything with existing customers who are used to dealing with us. We're gonna do brand new, fresh enrollments, right? So
Right.
now this is the segment of team members and how we're going to train them to, first of all, use
Yeah.
and accept the help. If you're doing agent assist, they've got to accept, they actually have to call for assistance. You've got to use this actively, or else the pilot's not going to work. But there's also this element, and this is key in disclosure. And disclosure does not happen without trust and respect.
Mhm.
So now this goes both ways.
Yeah.
The agent has to trust the AI
Mhm.
and respect its limitations
Mhm.
and its assets.
Yep.
And the leader has to be able to also garner that trust, so that if there's a question, that agent is going to disclose that they have a question, or they have a concern, or they're frustrated, or they need some assistance. Because all of this, if stuffed down, will affect the pilot results. Oh yeah, it went really great. Yeah, no problems. All the customer reviews were spot on. We got 5 stars across the board. AI is obviously working.
Hmm.
No, the agents actually ignored the AI and did their own thing, and it wasn't the AI at all. So it's an attribution error.
Yeah. It's especially agent assist. It's something that's non-disruptive enough that you can deploy it, but it has enough connotation around it that it could lead agents to fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And if the leadership isn't already down the path of building a trusted environment where they can speak candidly, let's be honest, the future is going to remove jobs out of the contact center. The artificial intelligence will. So the agents are trying to figure out, is this my end? Are you deploying something that's not going to work, or is going to work me out of my own job? And all those things that go with that, along with, does it actually work? Because half the deployments don't really work, especially POCs. They're terrible at it. I'm sure you've ran into this a bunch.
Oh, I ran some terrible ones. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's such a, it is so dependent on communicating clearly to the teams, to the entire contact center, that we're committed. AI is the future, no question. Anybody who argues that, I think, is obviously not paying any attention whatsoever. So what does that mean? And we should be able to have those candid conversations. If you built a trust environment where open communications and dialogue is happening up and down the chain, the agents understand that it's still a business. They get that because they've seen plenty of people who can't do the job go out the door, and new people come in. Yeah, so I think you just treat them like adults, have great conversations, be open, candid about what the intent is of the platform, and again, set the right expectations, set it early.
Yep.
Um,
And point out the wins from
yeah,
it. Point out where it just made it easier. It just made it more fun. It just made something that would have been really painful way less painful.
right.
And recognize those moments, just like you recognize moments of value with clients, right? That's a conversation with AI that needs to be had immediately. Is look at the gaps that this closed for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be, especially with agent assist in particular. There's a few technologies that I absolutely encourage everybody to look at, and agent assist happens to be one of them. Live analyzation of voice conversations, chat conversations, providing the content as you need it, when you need it. There's so much value to it as long as it's done well. And again, all the right practices are done ahead of time. Voice analytics. There are some of these solutions that are easy. The straight up taking over the agent conversation for all calls, all chats, that's a whole different ballgame. We're a bit away from that, but it is coming. It would not surprise me if 5 years from now, 70% of conversations were handled by some kind of artificial intelligence. So that is a big change. If you look at our market cap, just in the publicly traded companies that are around contact centers, I think it's, if I had to guess, it's probably close to $1 trillion globally, somewhere around there. That's a lot of revenue and a lot of people's jobs, unfortunately, that are going to change.
It is. There is a reality behind this and a fear behind this. And yes, jobs are going to change.
Yes.
I hate it when people say jobs are going to be lost. I think the jobs are going to need to change.
Yes.
And it is no longer, are you using AI? It's how do you use
Yeah.
AI? Because everyone not it's not like you're in school and you're flipping the cheat sheet
Correct.
anymore. This is just how we do to augment the success, and it's going to force a change in the market that is going to necessitate people to become good at it and to know how to work it, because it is still an it at that point. and
Yeah. It is
and
not her, to reference the movie.
exactly.
So I have a question for you. I'm going to turn the table a little bit. I'd love to hear your opinion. Yeah, we both agree, obviously, that it's coming, right? And it's going to change. What are you seeing from a timeline from your perspective? Do you see your clients being ready? Do you think what's your timeline on all this?
Even the most change resistant clients are beginning to wake up, and I akin it to autonomous driving vehicles. And how about 3 years ago it was a thought. I would say we're definitely not going to hit 2030 without it becoming massive and a massive job shift
Yeah.
in that. And that's how I do like to refer to it, as a massive job shift. But even my most technologically resistant clients are realizing the need to go paperless. They're recognizing the need to pull data on demand versus look for it. The filing cabinets are gone or going away.
Yeah.
So the predecessors to even the AI change are intact.
Mhm.
And I think AI readiness comes down to knowing that your organization is losing competitive edge, that things are falling through the cracks because people just you can't hire more staff.
Yeah.
You can't hire more staff. Costs are up, salaries are up. Just the state of our economy is necessitating this. But those who are using AI are getting ahead of you. And
Yeah.
that's the biggie right there, is those who are using AI are getting ahead of you. So there's a need, and where human need is in human touch,
Mhm.
which is going to be very long tail before AI can really have that emotional sense. But the one thing that predictive analytics cannot get a handle on is human behavior and the unpredictability of human behavior and how it varies from individual to individual. So those escalations, that's where the jobs are going.
Yeah.
The jobs are going to escalations, and they're going to go to highly emotionally intelligent. That's where we're going to see a big shift. Emotionally intelligent leaders, agents, self leaders self-aware individuals who are going to, it's almost like a pre-screening process. The AI is going to take care of everything that's by the book and technical and things that you could just look up,
Yeah.
and the escalations are all going to be handled by people who understand behavior, they understand nuance, they can build connections. So there are one or two ways where you can take your job skills and your job training, and it's coming fast. And that's, you're a person who trains the AI, or you're a person who is the people or trains the people to
Mm.
be emotionally intelligent. And that's why I think that the work of people risk is going to lie within that emotional intelligence, and the risk of not being able to inspire or being able to generate disclosure, which is, disclosure is data.
Mm.
So you've got human data, disclosure, or you've got documentation and loading that in the AI.
Mm.
And that's going to be our new left brain, right brain in this new era. And I guarantee if the office has, everything has already gone paperless, AI is the next step. And if they haven't gone paperless, they're in the process of going paperless and getting their processes AI ready. And they might be ready for AI in a year or two,
Mhm.
but it's coming. It's coming like a freight train, just like autonomous driving vehicles and the autonomous pizza delivery already happening in New York City. They have autonomous pizza delivery.
Right.
Pretty sweet. And these jobs that have not required emotional intelligence are going there. It's going to call us to level up.
Yeah.
It's really going to cause us to level up. And the ones that are going to pull ahead are the ones who have that skill, or they have the other flip side skill.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. We're definitely in some very cool times. So yeah, I get the sense that you're a techno optimist then.
I am.
Yes.
I am. I think, I don't believe that Skynet is going to rule us all. I don't think so. I think that if we can employ enough EQ, that Skynet won't. I think the risk is actually becoming too passive
Yeah.
with it. Now, when we start to get too passive and too lazy with AI, you're going to be looking at universal basic income as something that's going to be needed for us, because we're going to lose a lot. But if you've got the doers and the feelers, and you are able to make that shift, I think we'll shift into a more prosperous era. But it's going to ask a lot of us.
Yeah.
It's going to ask us to be human.
Mm. Mm. Really focus on the human side. See, I think UBI, it's going to happen. It has to happen
Mhm.
for a lot of reasons. There's just, unlike any other industrial revolution, this is happening in a 10-year scale, whereas all the others took many years to work its way through the system. I think you're spot on. It's either you have high EQ, or you're a developer, coder, entrepreneur, somewhere in that kind of realm where you're a builder. And then there will be a pushback to some of the plumbing, some of the general like
Trades.
stuff. And yeah, which is awesome. We need a lot of plumbers and electricians and tradesmen,
Hey,
skilled.
I saw that South Park. They're going to be ballers.
That would take us down a whole nother path.
But I think there's going to be a place for everyone. There's just going to be a shift.
Yeah.
There is going to be a shift. And I think that UBI place is going to make space for other creative aspects as well. Right now there's not a space for our artists of the world and that place as well. So it's gonna be really interesting to see where our society goes.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. It's exciting times. And I'm also obviously a techno optimist. I I don't worry about the robot overlords either. So, no worries. I think there'll be plenty of challenges on our own. We humans have ways of messing things up on our own without something else jumping in and doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure. What a great conversation. Thank you so much, Fred. It was just a pleasure talking to you. And I think this is one of those pivotal conversations that we need to start having, and at every level. Where do we see ourselves? Where do we see our companies 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? Dare we say 10 years from now? Do we even know what things are going to look like? I don't think we do.
No
I
clue.
don't think we do. I think that even by 2034, we're going to be looking at a crazy different world, and we're pretty adept at adjusting into new normals now. Here comes the next one.
Yeah, and there will be one following that one right away. Hey.